Hello everyone, welcome back to the channel for another Laserdisc review. My name is Adam, and in today's episode we're going to be taking a look at the 1975 summer blockbuster Jaws on the limited edition Signature Collection Laserdisc. Now, when this got released, it was 1995 November. It cost $150 upon release. Now, we're going to talk about the picture, we're going to talk about the sound, the contents, the mastering, and get into it all. But one thing we won't really talk about is the film, because everybody's seen it. Everybody knows it's the story of a young shark named Bruce that loved this little coastal town off the coast of New York so much that he wanted to swim in the waters with the kids, play with the local folks, but that town had a very dodgy mayor, you know, and a crazy madman who lived there as well, and really, I guess, discriminated against sharks because they kind of went after him, drove him out of town, all the way out into the middle of the ocean, where they snuff him out. So it is a bit of a sad story. Everybody knows the tale. We won't get into that. Let's get into the Laserdisc. What is on here? Well, what's in here is actually quite special. The limited edition, right? So they released this as well as a different set in the Signature Collection. You can get Jaws twice. The limited edition comes with a book and a CD. The other Signature Collection of Jaws just has the film in CAV, as well as the insert inside. You get still all the same bonus features as you do on this release, but you're just missing the book and the CD. This was the one that was most sought after when it came out. Yes, it was 150 quid, but there was only 10,000 copies of this printed. So if you're one of the lucky 10,000 out of the world of billions that have one of these, then you really probably will do cherish it. This is in mint condition. The CD is still sealed inside, which you'll find out. The catalogue number of this is 42583. And I gotta say, it's an interesting release as well. Mostly because it is a THX release, if you can see that. That's the only indication it's a THX release, that tiny little one. Now, this is an early THX release, much like the Star Wars Faces editions. They were an early THX, and early THX discs, it started in 1993, and it didn't really get going until I'd say 96, 97, because for the first few years it was all done analog, you know, on an analog workstation. This doesn't say digitally mastered or digitally processed, and to be honest, you probably won't find that on many releases until about just after this, 95, 96, when they removed the analog workstation and went digital onto a digital workstation for cleaner transfers, better quality. Yes, it's THX, but it's got a very particular picture setup, and unless you're making allowances for that on your system, you might boot this up and go, whoa, it's overexposed, there's too much color, you know, it's too sharp, chromatic abrasion everywhere, you know, where in actual fact, because it's got the THX process applied to it, you kind of need to tone down some settings, because they did add color and contrast to the early releases to kind of combat with edge enhancement the analog noise that would be built within the signal. So this is dependent as well on the Laserdisc player you have. If you have a really good Laserdisc player that's got a really good filter, you probably won't see as much analog noise on this. If you've got a mid to low end player, you're going to see more noise, and it's going to distort the picture. I myself just saw a very minimum, like barely any. I've got the DVL 919, and if you go and watch the intro video, you'll understand how I'm reviewing these Laserdiscs on my THX reference system. I actually, on my TV, have a THX profile for Laserdisc stamped with the THX approved mark, so I can switch my color, brightness, and all that settings to allow for a THX disc. If you've got that Video Essentials Laserdisc, you're probably going to find that everything's boosted and pumped up in a THX disc, because that Video Essentials is for essentially any film that hasn't been stamped THX for the 90s. So I would recommend going to get that THX WOW so you can calibrate your system, but you can easily do that with your own eyes, with like Jurassic Park or something. So yeah, the picture, I'll put some screenshots up now. Really nice picture, really bright, colourful, very filmic, very detailed as well. Now, I gotta say, it really looks good when they get out on the ocean in the second half of the film. That's when the detail really kicks in. When it's in the town at the beginning, and obviously they're shooting, you know, day for night and things like that, or indoors, you know, there is detail there and there is like brightness within the scene, but it just kicks it into gear when they go out in the open ocean. Now, when I compare this against the Blu-ray, which obviously higher resolution, comes from a 4K scan like the 4K version of Jaws, there's a lot more detail that you can visibly see. And those discs have got wider dynamics for color and brightness, so contrast can be bumped up, whites are wider, blacks are blacker. It's not so on an analog Laserdisc, you know, there's a limited range of color and brightness. But I gotta say, there was only in the night scenes, true filming at night, was the sort of noise and the black levels going sort of charcoal. The rest of the time, the black levels were really nice and inky, the whites were very bright, and the color was there. The skin tones looked okay. They did look a little pumped with color, and when I compare it to the Blu-ray, they actually all look brown. Like there's like a brown dust layer or something on the Blu-ray when I compare it to this Laserdisc. This doesn't have that brown layer over it. In fact, it's very colorful, very bright within scenes. It's like the print on here is cleaner than the Blu-ray version one, even though it was a full restoration job on the Blu-ray and the 4K, like it was for this release. When they went to go master this film from the original negatives, remember it was filmed in 1975, this was actually to restore the film as well, giving it a new soundtrack and a new picture. In fact, John Williams re-recorded the score for this film, for this release. So there's an improvement in fidelity within the, you know, music soundtrack. But also, for the very first time, you had the soundtrack in Dolby Surround, whereas before it was stereo or mono from the cinema. The picture has been greatly improved over the theatrical run as well. And a lot of work. They scanned the negatives in 2K and they ran it through the THX sort of certification program, which basically, you know, the THX certification program runs from negatives to disc and every stage in between. There are certain metrics and tests that are performed and things that have to be done, and you have to do it in a certain way for it to be certified a THX title. And you know, scanning in 2K and going through the analog station, mastering it down to a 480 interlaced, you're gonna lose detail in this, you know. But what you see on this is actually, I think, really detailed. Really nice. This is actually, over the Blu-ray, my preferred way to watch it, because the prints look cleaner. They look actually like more colorful almost, you know. I honestly prefer this version to watch over the Blu-ray, and there's nothing wrong with the Blu-ray or the 4K or even the DVD. They all look great. But this one, I don't know, it just, maybe it's just because it's a Laserdisc, and it's a CAV Laserdisc, but it really does look good. In terms of the audio, you've got two tracks. They're both in stereo with a matrixed in Dolby Surround. Digital tracks and analog tracks. Obviously, I can't listen to the analog tracks because I haven't got a remote control, but you can flip back and forth on that if you want. The sound is really good as well. It's stereo, it's matrixed in, so, you know, it gives you like a fake surround if you want, but it is really nice. It's not overbearing with bass. There is punches of bass, but overall it's a well-rounded soundtrack. It sounds full-bodied. The dialogue is crisp and clear. Obviously, not much is happening in the rears because there's no dedicated, speakers set up within the soundtrack. It's not AC3 digital, so you're not getting that from the back. You're getting kind of almost like, the Matrixed version, where the Blu-ray and the 4K have the upper hand there because their soundtrack was remastered into Dolby Digital 5.1 and Dolby Atmos. This is just the stereo, but I gotta say, it sounds great. Very detailed, and really hits it really when it needs to, and the rest of the time, you hear it. It doesn't give you the experience of the surrounds, but it doesn't really need it, to be honest. It's still a fantastic listen to. I would say, though, sound-wise, the Blu-ray does beat the Laserdisc. But let's crack this baby open now and see what we got. It was released also by MCA Universal Home Video, in case I forgot to say that. First off, I love this artwork. You know what I mean? When I had the old setup, my old player and my old films, I had the non-limited edition version of this, so I just had the film. So I still had this on the Signature Collection, but I had the other version. And I really love the artwork. This is fantastic. You'd never think that this was actually a real photograph of a shark in a museum with a photograph of a woman in a tank, but it is. It's really cool. I actually would recommend picking up the PAL version of Jaws, because from 1990 something, or it might have been, 1990 something, because it's full cover, the artwork, and it looks gorgeous, and I highly recommend it. Let's crack her open and see what we got. So, inside you get this beautiful brochure artwork insert. Absolutely gorgeous. That's the cover of the Laserdisc you want. That's the back. A real photograph of a real white shark. Great white shark, rather. And it opens up into a trifold. So we'll take one page at a time, I feel. So on this one, you've got production stills and Steven Spielberg's autograph. So you want to sign a few of his checks, you can. In the middle one, you have the chapter listings, and then on the end you've got more production stills and more chapter listings. I mean, yeah, some fantastic pictures. And also there is on the back, no, not that one, this one. Really nice. Sorry about the glare. So that is in there. Don't know where to put all this shit. The film is split over, I think you get 4 discs in here. Man, it's a lot. 1, 2, 3, 4 discs. The film is obviously split over, I think, 4 or 5 of the sides. They're all out of order here for some reason. I did obviously watch it for the review. So yeah, side 1, side 2, side 3, side 4, they are the film. Side 5 and 6, I believe. 3 discs for the film. And then you have, on I think 3 of the other sides, a 2-hour documentary for the making of Jaws. Now, when it came to the DVD, this documentary was cut down to an hour. So this is the full length, but obviously on the Blu-ray, the 4K, they reinstigated the full length. So yeah, you've got the 2-hour documentary. There are Steven Spielberg's home movies on here, which I don't think they carried over to the Blu-ray. Video interviews, never before seen live shark footage, theatrical trailers, outtakes from the film, storyboards, production photographs, original advertising, marketing and publicity materials. They all carried over to the Blu-ray and 4K. Honestly, yeah, Absolutely amazing here. Series, yeah, so sides 1 to 5 is the film, and 6 to 8 is the good stuff. And what else do you get inside the box? Well, you get the book, and you get the soundtrack. Now, my soundtrack is sealed, and that is exactly the way it's going to remain. Never going to open this bad boy. Although it is AAD. I might open this, to be honest. I do actually have this burned to a recordable disc, so I can listen to this. There's 12 tracks on here for anybody who wants to watch it, listen to it rather. That's the track listing. It's an AAD. That means analog digital, which means it comes from the original analog tapes. And there's the front cover, absolutely gorgeous. Gotta sort this glare out. And then, of course, you get the book, the Peter Benchley book, which, again, this one is in fresh mint condition. Oh, my God. Smell that book. Oh. I haven't read this. I will read it. I'll probably buy another copy, because I don't actually want to ruin this one. It's pretty good. But, yeah, the book is very different from the movie. I haven't read it, but I've heard people say there's a few other things that happen in here that aren't in the film. I guess Steven Spielberg didn't want to ruin, Richard Dreyfuss's character's name. Didn't want to bring him down. Yeah, this package is really good. 10,000 limited edition ones. The sound is really nice. The picture is really good. Watch those settings, tone them down. Recommended that this be in everybody's collection. Well, for the first 10,000 people that want it in their collection. If you wanted to pick that up and buy it yourself, obviously you can go buy it on eBay. You got to be careful. You want to get the limited edition version. The one that doesn't say limited edition doesn't have the book and CD. This set goes for between £60 to £100 on eBay. If you buy it off the Laserdisc database, it goes from $20 all the way up to $60. This can go for quite expensive, more so than the other set, but you can also find it at a bargain as well. I think I paid £20 for that. But, yeah, worth getting. Go enjoy it. Thank you for watching. Join me in the next one. We're going to be watching more Laserdisc films and reviewing what that is. Take care, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye-bye.